But
That was a great beginning. I like that. Come say hi is the first thing people hear.
One of our best ever in terms of starts to a show. Welcome in.
Bang!
Welcome in. It's Soup and Meatballs time. That's Tim with an awful hat. That's me. Tim, how's your week going?
It was a great Saturday night. Let's dive right in and talk about basketball.
Well, can I talk baseball first?
Fine.
Really quick. So Friday night is high school graduation at my high school, and it's my favorite night of the year. And not just because it's the end of the year, but like I sign up to be a line proctor every year. And what that means is I'm in charge of 30 kids, and I've got to march them out on the field and show them where to go. And it's easy work. I mean, but I get to be at graduation, and I look at those 30 kids as if like I'm their last teacher. That's kind of cool to me. So in my row, I've only ever had one kid in class, and I recognize some of the other names. And one of the girls at the back of my line was named Fulmer, and our baseball coach is named Scott Fulmer. And I asked the girl, I said, "Are you related to Scott Fulmer?" And she gave me this look. She's like, "That's my dad." I'm like, "What? I've been asking your dad for years. Could you hook me up with an authentic Trojan-worn baseball cap?" And Friday night comes, and she gets me an authentic. It's not game worn, but I have a really cool Chambersburg baseball hat now. Like this is and she's like, "I'm sorry, it's white. They were out of blue."
Well, now that's the next step. See if she can get you an at bat.
Well, we'll talk about Chambersburg baseball in a little bit, but you wanted to pop right into basketball like there was something going on yesterday.
No, I want one of those hats. That's a cool hat.
You got to be a line proctor first.
Coach Fulmer, hook a brother up.
Here we go. Everyone in the world says the best two words in sports are somehow not soup and meatballs, but that's because there's three words. But the best two words are Game 7, and we got a Game 7 in the Western Conference Finals last night. San Antonio at OKC, and it didn't disappoint as far as games go, like you said. So we had a late dinner, so I picked this one up at halftime. Honestly, I think the third quarter might have been the best quarter of basketball I've seen all playoffs. Maybe definitely in the series, maybe all playoffs. I don't know if I heard it correctly, but did I hear it correctly that it was the first lead change that these teams had in the second half? Was that a thing?
Yeah, and it was the first that Oklahoma City led since Game 5 was when they took the lead briefly in the third quarter. And they kind of went back and forth there.
That sequence they had was just, it was wild to see. Oklahoma City built up a three it was at least a 3-point lead because there was a 3-pointer that tied it. But I'll tell you what. So first half, what do you remember about the first half? Because there's only one thing that I can remember just from highlights that was really big.
I mean, the first half, it was kind of the theme of the series that San Antonio got off to a really fast start and kind of had Oklahoma City playing from their heels from the start, which they did in all 7 games, win or lose. But San Antonio came right out and set the tone.
Inside, outside, USA. The thing that I thought the highlight that I saw came 3 minutes before the break when Stephen Castle gets a steal, or he's out on a fast break, and Alex Caruso says, "Not so fast, my friend. You're not getting this easy peasy stuff." And Castle was this close to like just jumping out of his seat.
Yeah, and Dylan Harper had to jump on him and hold him down.
He did this slide. It's so smooth. Like if you watch the video, he slides in and he cradles Stephen Castle like he's a baby. And the look on Dylan Harper's face. Now Dylan Harper's a rookie now. Let's get this straight. He's got this look of like, I know you want to go punch this guy. But we need you in the second half, so you're just going to stay with me right here. That was as big a play as there was, especially in the first half.
Yeah, because obviously they needed every bit of what they got from Castle, and as for the foul, I just thought it was good playoff basketball. It was a breakaway. When Wemby got the outlet to Castle, it was a gimme 2 points. I didn't think it was anything excessive. He made a play at the ball.
The
He
refs
may have
didn't
given
say it
a
was excessive
little
either.
extracurricular on the way down, but
The refs
you know,
didn't hit him with a flagrant. So I mean, and they looked at it.
yeah,
But so I show up second half, tight game. I think San Antonio had a 3 point halftime lead, and here we're going with this third quarter, and I I didn't see it as much last year. Maybe it's because I didn't want to see it, or maybe it wasn't a big deal. But like Shea Gilchrist Alexander, just he's made a name for himself as just wants to fall over all the time.
yeah.
And you had mentioned this a bunch on this show, and it's just like the last three games, especially, I've really seen a lot of it. And I heard Stephen A. Smith did a little thing about, or it might have been Skip Bayless, one of the two. They're both the same earpiece to me. When you look at kids today, like who kids try to emulate, we would be doing MJ's fadeaway. Your jump shot looks a lot like Larry Bird's. It does. People emulate the champions of the league that they see, and in 10 years, how awful would it be if like AAU basketball is a bunch of kids shooting jump shots and then falling down?
Yeah, and the thing is, I think it was least egregious last night by Shea.
Well,
Because
the pump fake on the 3-pointer and then drawing the contact,
yeah,
that was. But you're right as far as flopping goes. Um, Maybe the difference is trying to initiate contact versus just falling on your butt.
the thing that I liked that I saw out of Shea though was that for large stretches of the game, that went by the wayside, and he just got to his spots and shot and hit. I thought he was fantastic last night. You're right on trying to draw contact. Particularly that 1-3 where
The one I'm thinking of.
yeah, but otherwise, I thought he finished with 35. The Thunder needed every bit of it because he got very little help. More on that in a little bit.
Let's go right there. So it's
Yeah.
7:40 left in the game. I want to say, and Victor Wembanyama picks up his fifth foul, and then I don't think he had to play defense the rest of the game because Oklahoma City just didn't attack him. Chet Holmgren, you know how the old phrase goes, like, like Derek Jeter will never have to buy a drink in New York City again. Chet Holmgren might have to pick up the tab for multiple tables if he ever goes out again, because if anybody disappeared down the stretch, it's big boy Chet.
It wasn't just down the stretch though. It was the entire night. He only
Shot
attempted
twice or something like that.
Yeah, he finished with 4 points. This is a guy who's getting a max deal. He's going to be making 240 over 5. That kicks in this summer. He's third team All NBA, and he finishes with 4 points. He averaged 10 a game over the 7 games. Like Wembanyama absolutely stole Chet Holmgren's soul. Like it really feels like Chet Holmgren his whole life has been the 7-1 guy who could dribble, who had some outside touch, and he never really had to try more than that. And now we have this generational freak who does everything better. And I think we're at a real crossroads for Chet Holmgren where he got absolutely owned in this series. He was a complete non-factor on both ends. And this summer he could either say, I've already got my ring, I've got my money, I'm good. Or he can say, I was embarrassed on national television. Victor Wembanyama has made it clear he wants a personal war with me. I need to get in the lab. I need to get in the weight room. I need to find my athletic pride and come back at it.
That's about as good an analysis as you're going to get, and you're absolutely not wrong. Like, I just before we went live, I saw a video. I scroll through the tickety talks, and there was an old interview with Kobe Bryant who once famously said, if Shaq had my work ethic, we would have had 12 rings easy. Chet's got. You're right. He's got a decision. If he's a max guy, if he's got $200 million and he's got a ring, if that's enough, then you'll probably see this a lot because what Wembanyama was, you could see in his face, even when they gave him the trophy and all this stuff, like it doesn't feel like he's happy with this. He wants to show the NBA, I've arrived. It's now my time. Get out of the way.
And Jamal Crawford made a great point on the broadcast where he said, I would much rather see Chet go 2 of 15, than whatever, like one of 2 from the floor.
I don't know.
Like one of 2 says you're scared.
I would be 2 though, so
right. But
I'm also
you're
5.
Getting $250 million to face that fear.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things I would not do for $250 million. Try to do a layup in front of the world against Victor Wembanyama. Not one of them. Yeah, he could stuff me, sure. But the other name, as I was going through the highlights at the end, that stood out to me, a really big game. Julian Champagne,
yeah.
Champagne. Holy cow, he had a 60% from 3. And this is a smaller name. People are going to pay attention to a guy like Keldon Johnson.
Yeah, 6th man of the year.
So here come the Thunder. They cut the lead to 2 on 2 different occasions, and Johnson hits 2 big threes to stretch the lead back to 5 on both occasions. The Thunder didn't get closer than 4 after that. A really big bench contribution there from Johnson, I thought.
He reminds me both like in his build and in his way to come in and just start hitting right away of another Johnson. He reminds me of Vinnie Johnson, the old
microwave
Pistons, the microwave.
Yeah.
And Keldon Johnson was kind of hit or miss in this series, but you're right. He had a big 4th quarter last night. Champagne, because Wemby only gave you 22, but a lot of what Wembanyama was giving you in terms of value was on those pick and roll actions where he was rolling hard to the rim and the defense had to collapse on him. That's why Champagne was getting all those looks. Stephon Castle was getting those looks early. De'Aaron Fox was finally hitting some shots. Like the way the defense just had to constantly sag down on Wembanyama is what Dylan Harper was another one, only played about 25 minutes and came in and filled it up a little bit. Those guys were getting great looks because the Thunder basically said Wembanyama is not going to be catching lobs on us.
That's almost how you have to defend him. And if somebody shoots 60% from 3, you live with that, I suppose. So we'll talk about how Oklahoma City moves forward maybe later, but I'd like you to think about, what was life like the last time the Knicks made the NBA Finals, and it was just ironic that on June 16th, 1999, they took on the San Antonio Spurs. And I want to paint a picture for you of what June 16th, 1999 was like. Tim, you and I were in the summer of our sophomore years in college.
Correct.
I was probably working at Interstate Road Marking, the place that paints lines on the road. LeBron James had 43,440 fewer points, as he was just an 8th grader in Akron. De'Aaron Fox was 2. So he was
the only player who got minutes the only starter last night for the Spurs who was alive.
Harrison Barnes is the old man, but Fox was 2. Minnesota wide receiver Justin Jefferson was born on that day. So the day of game 1, Justin Jefferson was born. He currently has 8,480 yards receiving in the NFL. The number 1 song was Jennifer Lopez's "If You Had My Love." Gas, that's always the big thing. What did gas cost? It was $1.17 a gallon. I would take that.
Drive down the road. We can find cheaper in McAdoo.
Yeah, we can. And we could find a medium home in McAdoo for $131,000. The number 1 movie in the domestic box office was Austin Powers' The Spy Who Shagged Me.
I saw it in theaters.
that was alongside Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Do you know how much content from Star Wars has been put out since then? A lot.
Yeah, and not just the. I mean, I don't even know all the Disney Plus shows that are.
So,
Yeah.
Napster was 2 weeks old, just hit. Season 1 of The Sopranos had just ended that April, so people were geared up for season 2. The first episode of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire
Yeah, that
would
summer.
not have aired for 2 more months.
Yeah, it was a summer fill-in.
And you and I were still rewinding tapes from Blockbuster Video.
I can remember distinctly. I was 19 years old, just shy of 20. I was working. I was doing factory work to pay for college, and the one factory,
the Canadian flag.
yeah, Quebecois. The one factory that I worked at allowed you to wear headphones while you were working.
Nice.
And so I would listen to Howard Stern in the morning until like whatever 10 or 11. And then I would listen to sports talk radio because it was the New York stations talking about this kid, Tim Duncan, and was Avery Johnson good enough to run the point? And, could Allen Houston and Latrell Sprewell get it done as an 8 seed?
There it is. But so now we get the 2026 version, and I think that the Spurs have to be, I don't want to say prohibitive favorites.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that either necessarily.
I think if you meatball to my mouth, if you force a prediction out of me right now, I think the Spurs win. I think it's probably 6. It might go the full 7. What you have here, which is just really interesting, and what nobody can pinpoint right now, it's how much rest versus rust is going to matter in this one, because it feels like the Knicks haven't played a game since 1999. So you've got that problem of being off for that long. But San Antonio just went through one of the toughest series of this playoffs, and they get a couple days off, and they're playing at home in game 1. That's a big help. But I could very easily see one of two things happening in game 1. I could see the Knicks jumping out to a 15-0 lead, and then the Spurs winning that game by 10. I could see both teams rusty at the start, and the Knicks winning by 20. That's how weird and wide open this series is in my head.
Here's the thing: the Knicks play this year anyway. They have played the Spurs well. They have some quality wins against the Spurs.
2-1 and a massive end of February
30-point win to end a Spurs winning streak.
It was a massive win.
I think it's going to be really interesting how Jalen Brunson does, because he's only 6'2". Will he be able to? He's able to get his points because he's kind of got that herky-jerky. He's not the fastest guy off the ball, but he's got like a herky-jerky way of creating, space off of hesitation dribbles, and with his footwork getting those little turnarounds. The Spurs are so good on the perimeter defensively, where they're just like, guys like Castle and Harper long, and they're going to be, quick feet, and they're going to have hands in Brunson's face. So it's going to be interesting, if Brunson can get to his spots and hit his shots, and if he can't, who among the, Anunobys and the Bridges and the Josh Harts will be able to step up as supplemental scorers.
So the Udonis Haslam theory says in a 7-game series, your stars are going to win you 2, your role players are going to win you 1, and your coach has to win 1. So looking at the 2 stars, Brunson versus Wemby, not a direct matchup, but of the 2, like you mentioned Brunson out in the perimeter with San Antonio's defense, how does New York try to counter Wembanyama? Is it a multi-tiered Chimera approach, or is it just Cat? Because Mitchell Robinson's going to play, but he's going to bust his hand a little bit.
Yeah. For what he does, I think he could wear a cast on both hands and he'd be fine. He's rebounding in defense.
Did say, I mean, that the Hacker Robinson strategy is going to be there if he's got some kind of protection on his shooting hand. I don't know how if that affects the series.
And that's another big issue because Cat is very prone to foul trouble. He does pick up bad fouls. If you're going to point to a weakness in his game, he does reach sometimes. And I would think that even with the broken hand, they're going to need him just for the minutes to spell Cat on Wembanyama. You know, I'm of the same mind as you, where I think the Spurs win. I think it goes at least 6, but I do like the Spurs to win the title 4 games to 2.
As far as the other stuff that I'd written down for the coach, Mike Brown's been here before, at least in a championship series. He's won a couple times as an assistant. He lost with the Cavs as a head guy. But Mitch Johnson, at this point, I think comparing experience is kind of silly, especially after the series that Johnson just had. I'd call that a wash. The role players, I think, is where New York might have a slight edge. If you look at their bench, they have their efficiency rating is about 7 points better than San Antonio's. But if that's what you have to hang your head on, we'll see what Game 7 looks like in San Antonio.
And here's the thing, people talking about how hot the Knicks are, and obviously they are. They're as hot as any team's ever been in the playoffs.
They haven't played in a month, though.
But the Thunder were hot. The Thunder had swept their way.
And lost the game.
Yeah, they swept their way to the Western Conference Final, and the Spurs, win that epic Game 1 and then, win on Oklahoma City's floor to take the series. So, New York's on a roll, but, the Spurs have done a lot of things that have defied convention because they're not even supposed to be here yet. No, they were supposed to be like a 45-win team this year, and they win 62, and now here they are in the finals.
Slightly ahead of schedule, and we'll see if we called it the de facto championship a couple weeks ago. I think a lot of people looked at the Western Conference Finals as, well, that's the finals. We'll just see if the Knicks can make some noise at least. And I think their best bet is Game 1. I think the slight hangover of this Game 7, I think the emotional roller coaster that San Antonio went on, and I think the Knicks just, if they have to prove that they've got this chip on their shoulder that nobody's talking about them as a viable title contender right now. I think they've got that kind of stuff going for them, which they can sneak a Game 1 win. We'll see.
And I'm going to bring up one thing that we don't typically talk about. I'm not going to wade into the politics of it, but Donald Trump has said that he will be attending an NBA Finals game. And I can guarantee you the Knicks do not want him there. Politics aside, for the distraction and the way it's going to become this like culture war thing, the Knicks have it going so strong right now. The last thing they want is some kind of distraction like that. That's all I'll say about that.
I did see he posted an AI image of himself wearing a Knicks jersey dunking over somebody. Probably
dunking over the governor of New York.
Oh, there you go.
Totally normal stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
A lot of people don't know that before the Gettysburg Address, before it was the speech that we know, it was just going to be an AI-generated meme.
It was going to be Abe Lincoln versus General Lee in a one-on-one game.
Dunking on Jefferson Davis at Appomattox Courthouse.
Win by 2. Of course. All right, so Game 1 on Wednesday. We'll see what happens. We're going to shift our ways over to Major League Baseball, and politics aside, where baseball is at right now. The Major League Baseball Players Association just made their first formal proposal as far as collective bargaining goes. And so the negotiations have opened, and the players obviously did not mention anything about a salary cap. What they have is sharing more local TV revenue, competitive integrity tax for lower spending teams that kind of mirrors the competitive balance tax for the top spending teams. They want to raise the base competitive balance tax threshold from 244 to 300 million. That would nearly double the minimum salaries. Now, Major League Baseball proposed the salary cap system on Thursday. They came in and they said, this is what we want, and it is a hard cap of $245.3 million and a hard floor of $171.2 million. And I have a list here up on the screen. These are the teams currently under or over each threshold. So there would be more teams, 15 teams affected by a salary floor. Currently, 6 teams would be troubled with the hard cap. And I did some numbers on them. Right now, as a group, the 6 teams above the threshold have a winning percentage of 560. The teams below have a winning percentage of 500. And if you look at that kind of difference, especially in a situation where you win a third, you lose a third, of those middle third, it breaks down to about 10 games, which at the end of 162 games, 10 games is massive. Like you win 85 games or 95 games.
Right.
That's playoffs or not very easily. I don't know if you saw any of the negotiations or whatnot, but your thoughts on where MLB is right now in terms of labor.
I did see that there had been some, like you'd said, proposal put out there, and that it, to my mind, still avoids the major issue and does not. It does nothing to make me feel like we're not headed for a work stoppage.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, if you want to talk about how grim things are,
this is just early positioning.
They're miles apart, maybe light years apart, and unless something major changes, I mean, like major, you're going to slog for the next 6 months, and they're going to negotiate because they have to legally, I think. But December 1st, you're almost assured of a major league lockout. And really, I mean, until we get to, I think I read the middle of March or the end of March, there's no real threat of games being lost. But if you get to March and we're still miles apart, then, I mean, you're in serious trouble.
Yeah, well, if you get to March and even if a deal is reached on March 1st, you're looking at regular season games likely being lost or a shortened season, I would think. Just because you you still need spring training. You need time with the organization. You have to figure out rosters and budgets. You'd be looking at, instead of 162 games, maybe 140 game season. If in March of 27 they strike a deal. I think that's best case scenario, is that we look at some sort of mildly abbreviated season next year. Worst case scenario is this drags into the early summer months of 27.
That would be beyond worst case, because at that point, then you're looking at, how many games did we play in 2020? It was like 60.
Yeah, it was super abbreviated because they lost the entire spring.
And I mean, that's national pandemic related. This is a bunch of guys who can't figure out billions of dollars.
Yeah, this could be more like when they lost the 94 postseason, they went into 95 with the replacement players. I mean, we could be looking at something like it, and that was ugly because then you get the union didn't like the scab players, and but that's down the road. We'll see if they can make.
Relatively good news. Both sides agree that local TV revenue should be shared at a higher level. That would help with those 15 teams over on the left there, trying to spend potentially more money. And you're going to see, like, the guys out there like Jordan Alvarez, who is having a crazy first half right now. I'm not even sure how much money he makes. He's let me see if I can find this out. He's 28 years old. Salary. Jordan Alvarez, $26 million per year. you're going to find guys on Tampa Bay right now who are making like $4 million, who will be making $20 million. They'll be making Gordon Alvarez money, if that makes sense. And I don't know if that financially makes sense in my head. Like, are some of these guys, you want to say, are they worth that money? There's 15 teams that have to spend money. They got to give it to somebody. They can't all give it to Paul Skeens.
I mean, here's the thing. Baseball has steadily been losing fan interest and ratings since the 90s.
That's that's partially baseball's fault, though. You said this before. Nobody hates their fans more than Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
In terms of blackouts and stuff like that. That all goes to that.
I don't know how much longer baseball as an organization can keep deluding itself into thinking that a salary cap is not going to happen.
That's fair. And that's the player's side, at least. I mean,
when you look at the reality of every other major sports league in North America, what makes baseball special? That they wouldn't have the same financial structure.
They have different size stadiums for every team. That's pretty special.
Yeah, that is. You're right. Let's bring that to the negotiating table.
I like that part of it. No, in terms of on the field stuff, though, it's get out of the boardroom. Friday night was a pretty cool night, not only for the NBA, but Friday night, they didn't have the NBA. What am I talking about? Friday night had 4 walk-off home runs in the same night. That's the kind of stuff Major League Baseball should be talking about. I don't know if you saw this. Brian Reynolds, Miguel Vargas, MJ Melendez, and Ezekiel Tovar all went yard in the 9th inning to help their teams win. And according to Sarah Langs, who's out on the Twitters, Ezekiel Tovar was the first player in history to have a multiple home run game, one of them being a walk-off, as well as a stolen base of home in the same game. So dude walked off, only stole home in the same game. That's cool stuff.
That is cool stuff. And, Friday I got to watch, it was the Apple TV game, Phillies-Dodgers. Even, seeing, first inning, Freddie Freeman goes deep. That's exciting, seeing a future Hall of Fame guy do what he does best. Ohtani went deep. So even something like that where I think it ended up being a 4-3 game, a pretty, routine game. The baseball that's being played right now is still exciting and fun. That's what makes this so frustrating about the financial stuff.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, the financial side of what the Dodgers are doing, Shohei Ohtani lowered his ERA to 0.82.
It's like softball, what he's doing.
What's that?
It's like softball.
On the offensive side, but on the defensive side, it's like Randy Johnson facing the Pioneer Fire Company.
No, but I mean, in softball, where a dominant pitcher will have a 0.6 ERA.
Oh, you mean high school softball?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I was thinking beer league softball.
Oh, but that's
guys our age.
Right.
What are you talking about? They hit so many home runs they don't even run around the field.
It reminds me of The Simpsons, where it's you step to the plate, you drink a beer, you get to first, you drink a beer. Every inning, you have a beer, except for the 7th inning where you have 2, which is known as the beer inning. And then Wiggum's like, hey, come on, we know how to play softball.
Yeah, in terms of high school softball, though, yeah, I totally get the comparison now. I'm with you.
And yet, he's not even necessarily the best pitcher in the National League, because Christopher Sanchez is going on an Oral Hershiser run here with the scoreless innings.
Yeah, what's he at? 45?
45 and a third, I think.
I thought, yeah. That's wild stuff. And as far as what we like to look at, the whoever's in last place in the National League Central. Cincinnati still is 1 game over 500. They would not be in first place in the American League Central thanks to the little run that the Guardians and the White Sox have gone on. But they would only be a game behind the Seattle Mariners, who just happen to be the hottest team in baseball right now. They've won 5 straight. In terms of overall hotness, though, like you mentioned, the Dodgers, 15-3 over their last 18. If you extrapolate that over 162 games, it's 121 wins. That might be a record.
Can I use this to segue into an old man rant / exercise in nostalgia?
Please.
So, do you know what really used to help build up the excitement of these like middle months of baseball and like the NBA playoffs and everything? Was when you would see like you talk about the run that Cleveland's on or what the pitchers are doing in the National League, and you would get that week Sports Illustrated, and you would see like oh, like I have to read all about this. Like what's Otani doing? What's Sanchez doing? Oh my God! Like you'd get a cover like the Mariners are the hottest team in baseball, and Sports Illustrated just laid off more of its workforce this week. A lot of the content now in the magazine is AI generated. The best sports magazine of our lifetimes just slowly having a pillow put over its face.
You were a bigger Sports Illustrated fan than I was. I got it because I got it. I think I wanted the videos more than anything. But I was a big sporting news guy. The sporting news for me, because you would get like, so Sports Illustrated was more featurey. Like
Yeah.
you get the feature on whatever. Sporting news gave you news on every team every week.
Yeah, and a lot of statistical a lot of like trends and statistical analysis.
And I think Dave Kindred was like their opinion, whatever kind of writer. I really liked his stuff, and I remember in our senior year, Dr. Sosar made us do current events, and I used 2 or 3 David Kindred opinion articles as current, and he was cool with it. But as far as layoffs go, yeah, that's where we are now in terms of media. I mean, everybody who's got one of these things can be in the media now. At least they think they can. Anybody, any two yokels with a laptop can be on the internet.
I'm just picturing Major League Baseball in their boardrooms being like, "You've got to hear this. We have 2 gentlemen named Soup and I believe Meatballs saying we need a salary cap." Well, gentlemen, it's decided.
They both have baseball hats, so they must know what they're doing. That's about every year. Usually around WrestleMania, you see the WWE has their round of layoffs, and it's like I haven't watched dedicatedly in a long time, but there's always 1 or 2 names that I recognize. I'm like, that's a bummer for them.
Yeah.
You realize in the world of wrestling, there's only X number of hours that they're doing TV, and that's when you get over. That's when you get your name out there. As far as Sports Illustrated goes, same kind of thing. If you're not generating clicks now, that means you're not generating money, and that's what it's going to boil down to for the suits up at the top.
And that really was like living in Pennsylvania, how you would find out the news nationally about like, oh, the Mariners are doing well, like Sports Center or Sports Illustrated.
Unless you're a lunatic and you pulled out the standard speaker and you saw the standings page, because you were going to get a score, and it was going to say what did it say, night or West Coast, like you didn't get a score the night before.
Yeah, you would get like today. You would get like the late Friday game, the late Saturday game, or whatever.
I wouldn't have seen that the Yankees lost to the A's.
And then you used to get on Sundays. You would get like the entire league, like batting stats and pitching stats. Like you could sit there and get the ink on your forearms where you were like, oh, look at that.
Whatever they had room for, I guess.
Mark Lemke's hitting 270.
He's in the top 10 or whatever. Yeah, I have some old newspapers. I should pull them out just to see what that box section looked like. I'm sure it looked a lot different now.
Yeah. So that was my old man rant.
Good old man rant. I mean, it's a list ahead of the list. I like it.
If I were a He-Man character, I would be Man Rant.
Who's Man Ram?
No, I would just be Man Rant.
Man Rant. I got you.
Yeah, I would come with like a little soapbox, and I'd have a big fist, and I would shake it at the crowd.
There you go. Excellent.
In my day, bread was softer.
Your teeth were stronger. Here we go. What's going on in Boston and New York this week? Yankees had a nice 5-game winning streak since our last show until they lost last night. While I slept, I think I fell asleep almost immediately after the basketball game. Ben Rice has been, dude, I'll tell you what, man. He's making a name for himself in New York as a nice 1-2 with Aaron Judge. Hit 430 this week, 5 extra base hits. He's actually hitting 304. The Yankees have a 300 hitter. That's exciting stuff. In addition to, Rodon having a pretty nice start his last time out. Garrett Cole seems to be Garrett Cole. Fortunately, the Yankees got a little bit of help from Baltimore because they slowed Tampa down. Ever since the game that got postponed with the Yankees in Tampa, Tampa's gone on a little bit of a slide, which helps New York in the standings a little bit. Boston, on the other hand, it's one of those years, I think.
Swept by the Twins. They got Atlanta. I know they got smoked by Atlanta.
3 there. They did win an 8-0 game.
Yeah, it's just what are they, like a dozen under 500 now?
I mean, 9 games under, and currently, right now we're both kind of looking at the wild card. Boston's 4 out of the wild card, so I don't know where you go from there.
The only thing you can hope
is just health.
I think the best case scenario is that, Anthony gets healthy, Crochet gets healthy. Maybe they have like a little bit of a hotter second half that they can get a wild card. I think that's the best case for Boston is they get healthy and they can win, 81 to 85 games. But even that would take a lot at this point.
I have it written down here. I got to find it. Here it is. The one thing that you, as a Red Sox fan, can look forward to starting on Wednesday, I think I want to say, you can start voting for your favorite Red Sox All-Star, Wilson Contreras. Probably going to get a couple votes for you. Maybe William Abreu, maybe. I don't know about your pitching staff here.
Connor Wong, maybe. Do we have any Connor Wong enthusiasts?
Connolly Early. Dude, Connolly Early. Give that guy a vote. Well, you won't be able to because he's a pitcher. Sub-3 ERA in 61 innings, 5-2 record. That's 8 strikeouts per 9. That's not bad. He's got a positive WAR on a team that's 9 games under 500.
Hey,
Connor Early.
Ask our producer, how much are tickets, since the All-Star Game's in Philly, how much are tickets to the All-Star Game?
Well, you can go to Ticket Center, or we can go to see. I don't know about like the sponsored results are all secondhand. So like the first link was StubHub, and prices include fees. That's fine. I'm not going to sign in. Around $700, and they're selling fat.
All right.
I mean, if we get a couple views on YouTube, maybe we can get media credentials.
There you go.
Send this out to my school. Everybody, just click on this link. We're trying to go to send Soup and Meatballs to the All-Star Game.
Well, maybe next year. Where's the 2027 All-Star Game at?
2027 MLB All-Star Game is Wrigley. We can get to Wrigley.
Oh, I've always wanted to go to Wrigley.
I was there back in 2002, and this is a good story because friend of the show, Jason Macco, lived a block away. So 2002, the summer, I go out to visit, say, hey, what's up? And we go to a game. And we were sitting in where, like, the Bartman seats would be. And I could not hear the crack of the bat on the ball. Now, like, when I was growing up, Ricky Jordan almost killed me at Lackawanna County Stadium with a screaming line drive. So when I go to a game, if I'm in a position where there's a ball might be hit to me, I'm locked in.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I couldn't hear the crack of the bat. And it wasn't scary. There was like 2 or 3 balls that made it out there, but they were like rainbows that, they're up there. That was kind of cool to see. But Wrigley as far as a experience was a good time. The outside the park was good, and I mean parking is maybe it's changed, but it's in a neighborhood, so it's
tough.
Awful.
I'm sure.
Awful. But like I said, Macco lived a block away, so didn't matter.
That's how it is. I mean, Fenway, you
Yeah,
just like if you can, you just take the T and to Fenway rather than drive and try to find parking.
that makes total sense. Makes total sense. Um, we are 45 minutes in, and we haven't talked about the NFL, so I don't want to get fined. I'm gonna tell you something right now. Honestly, I really think the NFL might be hoping for a Major League Baseball lockout and a strike because they need some other leagues to get some above the fold coverage. What's going on in the NFL now is it's rough. Between what's going on with the New York Giants, wherever you side philosophically there, but now I don't know if you saw this, but an NFL reporter named Chrissy Freud was in the news for she got fired from her position for basically saying that at least 6 female reporters told her firsthand they have slept with NFL coaches or staff from teams they were assigned to cover, trading intimacy for access. She said she was fired for that and attempting to blow the lid off of the NFL's most open secret. Tim, training camp can't come soon enough, can it?
Yeah, that has the potential to be like a season-defining scandal.
That's notwithstanding what's going on in New England. If she decides she's going to go scorched earth and say, "Yeah, these are the 6 other coaches," that's
Yeah,
that's bad.
it's bad for the NFL and it's bad for women in media because you think of the women who do good work and everyone's going to be painted with a broad brush because of this type of activity.
That's I hadn't formulated that in my head, but that you're absolutely right. When you have somebody doing like legitimate work, like, what do we all think of Adam Schefter? We don't. But what do people think of Aaron Andrews? And what's the difference?
And Aaron Andrews has already been the victim.
And
Yeah, even talking about it's giving the perpetrator more attention than he deserves. But she's already been victimized.
so you're not wrong. And you know, there are plenty of aspiring journalists who, I mean, this should almost be a case study, like on ethics, on multiple ways, like how you get yourself, how you get ahead. But then, you know, I can totally understand if like the level of competition at that level of media.
I
I'm
mean,
just a ham and egger from local TV. You know that's one thing. These people are trying to get on national news, break national stories with the world's most popular sports league. That's
and I'm not even trying to make a joke here, but it's been like a slippery slope of, we've seen it on a corporate level of companies who are like, will do anything as long as they can have access. Where ESPN has been alleged that they've sat on certain stories, because they're a corporate partner of the NFL. Like on the macro level like that, it's only a few degrees removed before you get to the micro level like this of personal, like, I will do this if you give me this, quid pro quo.
well, I mean that happens on a local level too. I mean, I can tell you, I sat in on a number of meetings where all right, there's this business that something happened, and the news director's first question: did they advertise with us? That shouldn't matter, but at that level, it did. I don't
Yeah.
know. Did you ever see that in the paper? Did that ever happen for you guys?
I can tell you a personal story where I was writing a story. I won't say it wasn't like a high school sports thing. It was more of like a human interest story I was writing, where someone offered me $20, like an actual $20 bill. They were like, just make it a favorable article, and I was like, ugh. That is absolutely, and I did
Give
not
me,
accept
give
it.
me 7 or 8 more of those, maybe.
20 in this economy.
$20.
$20 goes far in Columbia County, but Andrew Jackson has to speak a little louder if you know what I'm saying. No,
I was lucky.
I definitely had that happen though.
That's I mean, and that's just two guys. So what's happening with those young ladies is not very cool at all. But what is cool is Soup and Meatballs offseason rankings. We're going to check out the AFC South between the Texans, Colts, Jaguars, and Titans. There's some interesting quarterback situations in Indy and in Houston, but we're going to look at non-quarterbacks here. So, Tim, where would you like to start?
Oh, let's start. Let's start in Houston. Let's go alphabetically by city.
Yeah, that's right.
Um,
We're going to go one for one, I think. We'll see.
I do too, because I have Will Anderson.
I mean, he signs a massive contract. He had 12 sacks last year. And, I mean, in the NFL, the two big spots, quarterback and edge, and Will just signed one of the biggest deals for any defensive player in history. And he needs to live up to it, I think.
Monster in the playoffs. You're looking at a guy who it feels like could be making the jump if he hasn't already into like elite, in the conversation, especially as they get older, of like Myles Garrett and TJ Watt.
I could see that. I could see that very easily. And if you look at, I like to look at the schedule of the teams that they play against. And the first 5 games for the Texans, they've got Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. They're at the Colts, division game. They've got Dak Prescott, and then they're at the Titans, another division game. And then they got the Jaguars, the first 6. So if he can disrupt things, Houston can get themselves out to a good start, which could, they missed the division by 1 game last year. That 1 game could be a big thing. I think I'm going to go with Will Anderson. You're going to go with Will Anderson. It's not a shocker there. Okay. Who's up next for you? You going to go alphabetical the whole way?
Yeah. Let's go with Indy.
We could be different here, I think.
Yeah. Well, just because we're saying non-quarterbacks, we don't know what's going to happen at quarterback in Indianapolis. So you look at the weapons around whoever's going to be playing quarterback, whether it's Daniel Jones or whatever. Jonathan Taylor has kind of been where that offense begins.
Absolutely.
For the last 4 or 5 years.
Absolutely fair. I went with Tyler Warren, the second-year tight end.
Yeah.
Last year, there's only 5 tight ends who had more targets than he did. And he had the 5th most yards among all tight ends, but he only had 4 touchdowns. So I think a guy like Warren helps a guy like Jones in the red zone.
Exactly.
Or whoever I don't think it's going to be Richardson. Who's on their depth chart? Who else do the Colts have?
I truly don't know.
Riley Leonard from Notre Dame. I remember that name.
Yeah.
And he looks, oh my gosh, he looks like a child. And the emergency quarterback is a guy named Seth Hennigan. And wow.
That's an emergency if Seth Hennigan's taking snaps.
Yes.
That's not 3 Mile Island. That's a Chernobyl.
That's bad. So Tyler Warren, Jonathan Taylor, I think that's fair. Who do we got after Houston? It looks like Jacksonville.
Yeah. Another guy who got paid, another rusher who got paid. Josh Hines-Allen, defensive end.
I like that. I went on the other side of the ball. I think Travis Hunter might be the most important player for the marketing department, but Trevor Lawrence got sacked 41 times last year. It was 6th most in the league. And they drafted a guy named Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon in the 3rd, but he's listed as a backup. So, I mean, they didn't make any free agent moves to this offensive line. I think their left tackle, Cole Van Lanen, I don't know if he was hurt last year or what, but I think the most important player on this offense is going to be somebody on the offensive line. Can you keep Trevor Lawrence upright in an attempt to win the division again?
Yeah, and it's funny because the AFC South is a very interesting division where you have these – it's very top-heavy with these 3, and then we'll see what Tennessee has. but there are definite questions where you know what does Indy and Houston have at quarterback, and can they protect their quarterback in Jacksonville? Because if any of those three, with the defense, especially that they play in Jacksonville and Houston, solve that question, you're looking at a team that can make a run to the Super Bowl.
Or at least deep into the playoffs. That's
Yeah. Well, Houston, I mean, if they got any kind of quarterback play last year, they pushed New England.
That's fair. That's defensively, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of Tennessee, too.
Yeah,
What a roster that is.
yeah, and I like Cam Ward, and I like that they gave him someone to throw to. Let's see what Carnell Tate's got.
You're going with the rookie. Well, if you look at quarterback sacks, Cam Ward was sacked the most in the regular season, tied with Geno Smith. So I looked at their offensive line depth chart. Guy named Dan Moore Jr. is LT1. So for me, it's going to start with Dan Moore. I don't know at Tennessee if they did anything in free agency along the line. Like the year the Bears had Caleb Williams sacked 86 times. The very next year they went out and they revamped 60% of the offensive line through free agency. I don't know if Tennessee and or Jacksonville did. I know Jacksonville didn't because I looked it up. I don't know about Tennessee, but Tennessee's also not in a position where they're not going to be competing for the playoffs. They want to see what they have with Cam Ward. They want to get another year in the system with him.
Tennessee's hoping to win 8 games. They're hoping to.
I was going to say 6.
Yeah, I was going to say like 500 is like ceiling for Tennessee.
They open up their first 5. They've got the Jets. Okay, fine. But then they got the Eagles. They're at the Giants. They're at the Ravens. They have the Texans. They could very easily be 1-4 if they can sneak a win against the Jets.
And that's their biggest problem is in that division. Like I'd said, those other 3 are so much better than Tennessee that it feels like that's 6 losses right off the bat.
Yeah. And
even playing the last place schedule.
But you know, I like that phrase, last place schedule. The way the NFL schedule is put together, that whole concept of last place schedule is 2 games. That's it. Like,
right, because otherwise you're rotating with the same division from the other conference.
Your division is playing another division, and yeah, you're playing the bottom team of that. But if you rotate against the NFC North, yeah, the worst team in the NFC North is Minnesota, and Minnesota is still miles ahead of Tennessee. So that's weird, but there it is. The Super Meatballs look at the AFC. That's the most time I think we've ever put in the AFC South. That's remarkable stuff there. That's a lot of research on the AFC South.
That's like 5 minutes of research. You know how I was a little late getting on the call? I was like, oh, AFC South this week.
So AFC, we did the North last week, right?
We did the North.
Yeah, so West next week.
Yeah,
we'll
we did
up
the East.
AFC.
Yeah, East. Yeah.
I will research the Kansas City Chiefs when we get off the show.
I already know who I'm taking for the Chiefs, but you'll have to tune in next week.
Next week.
That's how you do it. You lure the viewer.
You know what that's called in the TV world? It's called a tease.
That's right, viewer. You're being teased.
All right, it's time for your favorite time of the week. I think
I love the list.
Here it is, and I'll tell you what, it's both sides of the list. Like I started thinking to myself, are we being too negative on this show? Am I being too angry? Should we have a part of the show where it's like a feel good, like kinda? So in keeping with that, kind of sort of, I have 2 parts of the list, and this is going to be video. I have to get the share the screen button. It's like they move it on me every week. Here we go. I'm going to share a video of Galveston, Texas. In Galveston, Texas, they have like this beachside amusement park with the Iron Shark roller coaster featuring a 100-foot vertical lift and it reaches speeds up to 52 miles an hour over the Gulf of Mexico. And as you can see, riders got stuck on the way up. There's 8. I think they were just called students. I don't know if they're high school or college, but either way, they're stuck for hours until rescue, first responders, whatever you want to call it, like until they get on the scene. And I cannot tell you how triggering this is for someone like me who has
That is your personal hell.
a massive fear of heights. And on top of that, allegedly, a woman is suing one of the firefighters for inappropriately touching her while rescuing her. This was according to Chelsea Clark's TikTok. However, I found no verifiable evidence of that whatsoever. So, number one, Chelsea Clark, if you're making stuff up, you're going to make the list, because if I'm in that seat and a firefighter wants, I don't care where you touch me, just get me the hell off of that thing. Like, my hands are clamming up right now, live on the show with you, because that is the most frightening thing ever. Iron Shark in Galveston, Texas. You just made the list. Scare the hell out of me.
I have an addition to the list this week.
Cool. I have an addendum after you're done.
Okay.
It's visual. It's something I sent you already, but I'm going to share with the world.
All right. So I don't know if you saw in Oklahoma, there was this dad who was coaching a youth sports baseball team, and he instructed his son, the pitcher, to chuck the ball into the opposing team's dugout.
So that is number 3 on the quick hitters list. But yes, put him on the list. I'm totally cool with that.
He's Michael Riles, 38 of Welling, Oklahoma. I looked you up. You're on the list, bud.
He actually, so the quick hitter I'll give you right now, an Oklahoma youth baseball coach has received a lifetime suspension.
And the son got 5 years.
For allegedly telling his son to throw a ball into the opposing team's dugout during a game. According to USA Today, it was confirmed that Michael Riles was handed the lifetime suspension, barring him from coaching ever again in that league. His son received a 5-game suspension for dangerous misconduct from that league, and we're going to get Tim back in here in a second. What happened was there was a rally going on from the other team, and he's back.
Hey,
and this Riles guy
Michael Riles calling.
You get a call.
I did.
Well, put them on the list. Now, as I was just kind of filling time, what's worrisome to me, and I really hope this isn't just my cynicism, is that he was banned from this particular league, but like a league like Perfect Game or some other league, not so much. This is not indicative of competition. Or, like I've coached football for a bunch of years, and you're in games like, and you think like whatever it takes, like, but at the end of the day, as a youth football coach, like that mentality always trumped, I have to win this game. Where youth sports are as a whole, youth sports should be on the list the way they're run. It's out of control, man.
The point I was making before the call came in was the son. He's just a 12-year-old boy. And he got a 5-year ban.
He's 11. I actually think he's 11.
Okay, so he gets a 5-year ban for listening to it, not just his coach, but his dad. Like, what a terrible position for a kid that age to be in. I understand why there had to be discipline, but that makes me want to put the dad on the list a second time for being a bad coach and a bad father.
And a bad dad, yeah. I mean, like I was saying before, like I was a youth football coach. At the end of the day, you want to teach for the school, all right? So, like, we try to teach them the difference between, like, the Little League and the pony football versus school football. Like, we would start to say, like, now we're going to start to develop you as a player, and we want to win. Winning is important, but it wasn't important enough at the cost of either putting a kid in physical danger or teaching a kid, like, to be a dirty player. And that's what this is, like firing a 70-mile-an-hour fastball into a dugout. Like,
it's just stupid.
It is, and it's, I mean, almost to the point now where my little addendum to the list here is so insignificant. We were out driving, and whenever you see these stickers that say, caution new driver, I'm totally on board with those. That's fine. This one just made me feel a little bit ill at ease. Like this reminded me of the gunner in Spaceballs who couldn't shoot down. It's not Rogue One. What was Lone Star's ship? Eagle One. He couldn't shoot down Eagle One, and Dark Helmet is like, "What's your problem?" And he's like, "Sorry, sir, I'm doing my best." Like this sticker just reeks like I'm doing my best. I just ran over the stop sign, but I'm doing my best. Please be patient. Just put new driver. That's all you need.
It's really not great when you're on the road and you have a preemptive excuse for the accident you're going to cause on the car.
So I don't want to put the driver not on the list. The sticker, whoever came up with that sticker, it's good for a laugh though. I mean, I think it's hilarious. Your thoughts?
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to go positive with this one. You hang in there, driver. It gets easier. Practice your K turns.
What's a K turn?
Like the 3-point turn, like where
3-point turn.
Yeah,
that's fair. I'd never heard it referred to as K turn before. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, quick hitter time. Are you ready? It is video time, and you got to listen to this because listen. I know content is sometimes hard to come up with, like especially a weekly show. But I want you to listen how ridiculous this is. Go.
Did you say the average person has a better chance of attempting to block Myles Garrett, given 20 attempts, or making fair contact off Paul Skeens on 20 pitches? And I thought, okay, that's cool. I'm gonna preface that to the boys, but I'm gonna give you 5 situations, and I want you to pick one that you think you'd be the most likely.
I can't even credit this guy. I don't even know who this guy is. I didn't write it down.
Fail the most at, but it's gonna be you think you could successfully block Myles Garrett one time, just one time. Do you think you could get a hit off of Paul Skeens in 15 pitches? I mean, get a hit.
Not even fair contact, just a hit now.
You could beat LeBron to 11. Could you block a penalty kick from Messi in 5 attempts, or could you outswim Michael Phelps in a 100 meter?
So, the last one gets cut off at the end because the other guy starts talking. So here are your choices. Could you do any of this at your athletic peak? Well, I'll put you at your athletic peak. Block Myles Garrett one time. I think he gave him 15 attempts or 10, whatever it is. Fair, not only fair contact, a hit off of Paul Skeens in 15 pitches. Could you beat LeBron to 11, stop a penalty kick from Messi, or outswim Michael Phelps in 100 meters? Are any of those even remotely possible for the average human?
No.
No.
Like, can I bunt off Skeens? Like, is that still?
No, it says you got to get a hit.
So a bunt single isn't a hit?
You're not beating out a bunt. That catcher's popping up and he's throwing you out. Let's be honest.
Fair, but that's the. I'm not saying I could do any of these. I'm saying that's the most likely. Like
I could absolutely get fair contact off of Skeens if he throws a 4-seam fastball on a bunt. I'm totally with that. But I'm not outrunning anything to first base. I think the center fielder could come in and field it and throw me out.
I think the only one. And I only say this because I know the least about soccer of the 5. I could guess, make a lucky guess. I'm not saying I would, but like Messi could slip on grass when he's making his kick or something.
Mine is this: if the offense, I'm going to be the left tackle, right, and the offense is going to line up in the shotgun with wide split running backs. We're going to run quick toss to the right. And I think I could I think Myles Garrett, if he takes an outside edge, I could block him enough where the running back could run away from him. And I'm calling that a successful block. But if he chose to pick me up by my scruff or whatever and throw me, then as long as he doesn't make the tackle, right? That's a successful block. It's like Scott Bakula in Necessary Roughness. I don't care. Tell him a story. Just keep him off my back.
That's like what Chet Holmgren was hoping to do last night.
Yeah, that's absolute one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. So I figured I'd share it with you. Another thing, I actually just saw this yesterday. Friend of the show and Steelers correspondent Jason Macco is out in Las Vegas for the next 3 days competing. How about this? In the World Series of Poker.
Wow.
Multiple events he's entered in today, tomorrow. The last one that he was just in finished up yesterday. He finished 67th out of 479. He cashed in $500 in that event. I'm going to try to get him on the show after this week to tell us about how things went. He did say it's quite the experience playing against the best in the world. Speaking of the best in the world, Tim, back in our day, we used to play poker for a fictitious belt back in 6th grade. Now they're playing for real bracelets. You know, sports does love its jewelry, doesn't it?
Yeah. Boxing has purses. We've got belts. We've got rings. We've got turnover chains.
Yeah. Well, I love the turnover chain. But there it is. So best of luck, Macco. I told him that he'd have to get an extra ticket for the massive gobs of money that are going to come in the suitcases with him. But he's out there doing his poker thing, which is cool. I knew he played, but I didn't know he was at that level. So
yeah, it's really
you can
cool.
now say you've met someone who's played in the World Series of Poker. It's kind of cool. We have one more video, which I saw this on TikTok, and I cannot tell you how just massively insane this is. I think the guy from Kentucky might be the strongest human being I've ever seen. Check this out. This is cheerleading at its best. At the bottom of that pyramid, I counted, it's 7 levels high, which means if the average weight of those girls is 115, the people on the bottom have like a ton of cheerleader on top of them. Some of these stunts, though, I want you to really focus on the guy from Kentucky because he's coming up. First of all, this is just insane. Look at that. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, you flipper. That's cool. Give me Kentucky. Look at this guy. 2 hands, 2 girls, no spotter. And that is just... Can you give some love to that guy?
That really, he's making it look so easy as if he's not holding a human being with one hand by the feet.
Well, where's the one? This is good. Oh, look at that. He flips her to one hand. Insanity.
And also, shout out to...
this one's cool, too. Check this out. Hand to hand. Look at oh, my gosh. Because now she's doing a handstand on his one hand, and then she flips. Holy cow. Forget about it.
Yeah, shout out to her. The agility to flip off someone's hand and the trust.
Yeah, that's huge. I want to see these guys lifting like regimens because if you can bench press 200 pounds of iron, that's like 100 pound of human. Like the way that humans jiggle and move. Yeah, I figured we would share some stuff from some cheerleading stuff on Soup and Meatballs here.
That is
absolutely a sport. Number 5 here, and we talked about this. There have been reports out of Hazleton area that classrooms have hit 100 degrees. I don't think it even got that bad at Greeby where I think the heat never came off. But can you imagine working in an environment where the room you're in is 100 degrees?
I can't. I know, there are times when I hesitate to put my air conditioning in where my place approaches 90, and that's unbearable. So I can't imagine being in a building where it's 100 degrees. And what's the teacher going to do? Open a window? That does nothing. That's just stagnant air.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I think at the Hazleton area, I don't think it was ever that bad for us. Hazleton Junior High School had some bad days for us. I remember. And you know what? I'm actually thinking about Miss Roberts in French class in 8th grade because that was the last. We had our specials broken up. That was the last special of the year, so I had her in May and June, and her room just got pelted with sun, and she did what she could. She opened the windows, but it was not nearly enough.
With that school, I think of the cold because there were parts of the annex downstairs.
It was the other way for you.
And the teachers would let us go to our lockers to get our coats because there was no heat in the room. It was I don't know how pipes didn't freeze. I'm just kidding. They probably didn't have running water.
They didn't. All right. Speaking of Hazleton Area High School, the Cougars baseball team win the District 2 baseball title, which puts them in the state tournament, where they will open with the 3rd seed out of District 3, which isn't Chambersburg, it's Hempfield. Chambersburg won their Final Four game, but they dropped the district title game to Muhlenberg, of all places. So as the second seed, they're going to open with Downingtown West, which is interesting because my first niece graduated from Downingtown East. My second niece graduated from the Downingtown STEM school. I don't think either one of them have any love for Downingtown West. That game starts tomorrow, 4:30 here in Chambersburg. I'm going to be there with my brand new hat.
Go Cougars.
Go well. Who do the Cougars open up with?
Yeah, I was sticking with the alma mater. I was saying go Cougars.
Well, they both have to make the state championship for me to get my Hazleton Chambersburg game. Oh, hey, like I said, Hazleton opens with Hempfield. Yeah. Then they would have to knock off Pennsbury, most likely, and then probably LaSalle College. That's who I assume would be the path for Hazleton. Chambersburg would have to beat Downingtown West. The next round, they get either Mifflin County or Butler, both district champs. Record-wise, it looks like Butler's probably tougher. And then, maybe you get a rematch with Muhlenberg. Maybe you get Haverford, which is a tough team out of District 1. Owen J. Roberts out of District 1. So I'm not holding my breath for a Hazleton-Chambersburg game. So I'll root for them both until we get both. So I got Cougar pride here.
I'll say this. The baseball playoffs, just like, in the pros, screwy things happen. Pitchers get hot, lineups get hot,
And what's interesting now as far as Chambersburg goes, they graduated on Friday. So, like on Monday, they don't have school to go through. They can, wake up late. They can get, they get the field early. There's no bus. So our baseball field is quite a distance away from the high school. So they bus up there. None of that. So we'll see. Hopefully they get a win on Monday, tomorrow, and we'll worry about game two. So, all right, good opening segment. It's draft time. Everybody's favorite part of the show. It's my favorite part this time because this Friday, are you excited?
I am. Although I will say I saw a second trailer.
Why did you do that?
I went to the movies last week, and
that's why.
Yeah. I'm starting to get the feeling, I don't know, that it might not be so good based on what I saw in the second trailer.
I tried not to read a lot of stuff, but I saw headlines that it's what they call it, like a positive surprise. So
okay,
maybe they just went in with expectations that it was going to absolutely suck, and it only sucked a little. But I really don't care. I'm pumped. I'm
going either way.
Stayed away from any kind of spoilers. Roseanne wants to come in, so she's going to come in, and I think we're going to try to go to Mechanicsburg. All I care about is, can I get one of the cool sword drinks? Like I one of the students that I had in AV club, her name is Ellery. She works at a movie theater now in Carlisle. And she told me at graduation, she's like, yeah, I got a job in Carlisle at a movie theater. And I'm like, listen, no, I'm being totally serious with you. You have to tell me, you have to find out if your theater is selling the sword drink thing. She's like, what are you talking about? Like, the sword drink thing. I totally geeked out.
How does everyone not know this?
How do you not know this? Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I'm into. So we are finishing up our He-Man draft, drafting our favorite villains who are not Skeletor. So, number and color.
5 black.
1, 2, 3, 4. You just went like super fast. Well, you lost this draft. It's been a while since you've lost a draft. Let's get the shade in there. There it is. The Jack of Diamonds is the Federal Judiciary Act of 1789, adopted in September of 1789 in the first session of the first U.S. Congress. It established the federal judiciary of the United States. So there it is.
You screwed me yet again, federal judiciary.
Yet again? I have a list. So this is kind of funny to me, where I forget how many heroes I had, but I have 10 villains. I think it was actually easier finding villains. Um, and let's see, Max Strauss first. Let's do that. My first guy that I'm going to pick is he broke the mold literally. So if you don't know much about He-Man toys, I really should have brought some out here for the show. But a lot of them were the same mold.
Yeah.
And this guy broke that because he didn't have a right arm, I want to say. Trapjaw. Trapjaw was really cool because he had this metal-ish mouth that you could open and close and maybe like stick a pencil in. But he had like 3 different accessories for his arm. He had like a laser, he had a claw, or like a hammer. So I think of all of the villains, and he was all over the cartoon too. Of all the villains, he was like the most versatile.
Yeah, he definitely had like a very cool design, but like you said, just unique, not like the others. And when I thought of this, because I just thought of like the cool jaw. The villains here, by the way, are all going to be toy based, maybe even more so than the heroes.
That's right. I mean, in the cartoon, they did their best to like manipulate the mouth so it looked like the words were coming out, but with Trapjaw, it was literally just because he had that metal mouth. But he could bite swords and like the crappy swords, not the cool. He wasn't doing anything to the power sword, but like the junk that Tila had. Yeah, he'd eat those. That was kind of neat.
I missed that for a second. It was kind of like what? Can I see that impression again? That's it. For my number one, I'm gonna go. Boy, I listed 10 pretty quickly here. I'm gonna go with Scareglow because he glowed in the dark.
Oh my goodness! All right,
Yeah.
he was the first one I wrote down, and I thought to myself, I can get Scarecrow later, Scareglow later. No, yeah he's absolutely. Oh, dude, I messed up. Yeah, totally cool because he glowed in the dark.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun.
When I was a kid, now this is obviously before I knew you because I was still living on Beach Street. There was one other toy that glowed in the dark that I had that absolutely terrified me. I don't know if you played with Thundercats.
Yeah.
But Mum-Ra's sarcophagus glowed in the dark. The evil eyes and the nose. Oh my God. I had to like either put a shirt over it or turn it around. But Scareglow is, dude, he's awesome. And I'll tell you what, we should really do this with most of these guys. Let's do the screen share of Scareglow.
Yeah.
People get a sense of, this is what Scareglow looked like. And all of that white stuff glowed. And like from the comics, that's what he would look like. Did the cape ever last for you?
No.
No, like two plays in, it was gone. And he's got that little axe, whatever that is.
For none of my any toy that had a cape, the cape never lasted. Because I had a G.I. Joe, Dr. Mindbender. His cape was gone within a day.
And this is kind of like the new figures. Like, look what they've done with art and toys.
Now, I forget. Did Hasbro do He-Man? Or Hasbro passed on He-Man?
Kenner, I think, passed on.
Yeah, Kenner did Star Wars.
Yeah.
And so I think Hasbro did He-Man and then G.I. Joe.
Mattel did He-Man originally. I don't know if somebody else came in with the new versions of it. I'm looking. This Scareglow.
Send us free toys.
Yeah, I mean, I have some in the garage. If it wouldn't take more than like 5 minutes to climb over stuff to get there, I'd go check them out for you. But no, that's an awesome pick right there. So my number 2, I'm gonna cheat a little bit because, well, I kind of have to now because this guy
It's a villain list. Cheating's encouraged.
It is. So we said that you could not choose Skeletor, but we didn't say you couldn't choose Skeletor's teacher. So I'm going to take Hordak, who looks just, I mean, he's not as cool as Scareglow.
He's got the scary face, though.
But look at that, man. And dude, his hand turned into like a rocket or something, and then like he turned into a rocket. Look at this. He comes with a cassette tape.
Yeah, even more than Trapjaw, I think his design was cool because he was very Skeletor adjacent.
And then, like later on in when you start getting into like the whole canon of what the He-Man universe was, the fact that he lived in Eternia and he was like teaching Skeletor or he's teaching Keldor the ways to be a wizard, and he the whole kidnapping arc of, you know, he wanted to get Adam and Adora, but he only got Adora out, and it was neat how they tried to turn like what they started with, because I'm sure they didn't start with this kind of thought in mind, like how they kind of built a story around this pig skeleton is really what he is, because he would snort in the show. But his transformative power is kind of cool. That, you know, he just turned into a rocket, or he's armed. So I have two guys that have like fake arms.
That seems to be a theme for you.
Definite theme here, yeah. Jacked up arms.
So, wow. For my number 2, let me go with Beastman.
Okay.
Because he had the cool fur.
Did he have fur?
Yeah. Didn't he have like orange fur?
Oh, well, in real life, but let's get the toy up here for you.
The toy just had plastic and then a chest plate.
Yeah. So this is what we were playing with back in the day. It had like the whip thing that I think broke for me. In the cartoon, that protector, I guess it is fur.
On the toy, though?
No. I'm showing the cartoon right now.
Yeah.
That's the original toy. It's actually hard to find the original toy, because a lot of this stuff is, all right, new Masters of the Universe, or this is like these are sketches. Here I guess here's Beastman from the old Mattel. Can we get a big visual on it? There it is.
It's funny that the toy